Previously on X-Men.
We'll go to a more obscure character, Banshee. I'm a massive fan of Banshee and his daughter because of the Deadpool run that came out in, I think, the early 90s. As you can see, I bought this one second hand, and he sadly had his wings, or his bits that help him glide, cut. So normally he has like lined bits here of plastic that help him kind of glide. This one had a gimmick because he's got the power of a very sonic voice. I would say like a siren, like his daughter, Banshee being his title and everything. He was a whistle. I'm not going to demonstrate because it doesn't really work. You can actually see what the kind of wings would have looked like and the material they would have been made out of here. Overall, not too bad with the sculpt. He always had kind of mutton chops like Wolverine, but I quite like this one. This one's kind of a guilty pleasure. I really like the X-Men belt. It's sculpted and raised, and there's not much articulation on this one. I do like the pop-up collar too. The head barely rotates, but it's enough. And then the arms go in and out. They don't really stay. This one also has quite a lot of range forwards and quite a lot of range backwards because it's sculpted differently. And then you can't get him to stand any neater on a shelf or anything though. And then the knees bend quite far down and there's no ankle rotation. Quite small feet, so it's quite hard to balance him. I really like the sculpt on these kind of training X-Men suits a lot more. I really liked the kind of bracelet-y bits here and the straps here and the straps here. It reminds me of the animated show a lot. You'll see it on the Morph figure at the back as well, which is one of my favourite figures. But yeah, so that's my run through of my Banshee figure. Next I'll go through the 92 version of Gambit. He did have a gimmick at the back as well, where you'd push this down and the leg would shoot up, but over time it's barely, functional. There you go. I always liked the design of Gambit. The head's quite clean. This one seems even less detailed than the other ones, even though it came out afterwards. The stick is very cool. You can remove it and rotate it and such. It's very like technological looking or cyberpunky. So this is what he looks like. He's in this plastic coat. I might remove it in a minute to show you what it looks like. Overall though I said the head's less detailed, I do like the sculpt of it. There's enough to show what the character is or was looking like in the TV show. I also like the paint job on the sides to show like the striping. This is pretty cool. You don't really see plastic capes anymore because they kind of wear away or they rip like the Banshee figure. Someone cuts them off. But you can pose it up so it looks like he's, powering up and things like that if you wanted to. Really nice with the top bit. I like the belt. The back kind of goes all the way around. The boots are nice to see. Peg holes at the bottom. And then head rotates all the way around. Arms rotate this much forwards with the jacket on. This much backwards with the jacket on. Bend at the elbow. That much with the jacket on. Legs go forward this much. Back, not really at all. They can't because of the way it's sculpted. And then the knees bend at a right angle like that. So this is the character without his jacket on, if you want to get a 360 look. I always liked the pink. It always looked very, very disco-y. Really like his character. Hopefully I'll make him in the new films worthwhile. The gloves are very nice as well, with the two fingers in the middle, sculpted and painted. Also, this is what the jacket kind of feels like. It's I don't know what kind of like a plasticky material. Also, just something to, I really like the knee pads too. They're very nicely sculpted. He doesn't stand all the way up because of the gimmick. So a lot of the time you have to pose him like forwards or like with his stick as well. I've taken it out just to remove the jacket. The stick has warped over time, still very nicely sculpted. Next I want to talk about another villain, Sabretooth. This one comes with quite a cool gimmick actually out of all of them, where the middle with this button on the back you can switch it so he's been attacked by Wolverine, which is quite a neat one. It's functional and you can have kind of different display options if you wish to. This is the very classic looking Sabretooth figure. His head doesn't rotate because of the whole gimmick again, but I like the overall look. Fur is nice enough with the way it's sculpted as well as the way it's painted on the shins as well as the wrists, and overall quite a nice villain figure to go along with, well, the heroes. And there's peg holes at the bottom of the feet. In relation to a Wolverine figure, he's not big. He's not big like he is in the TV show. He's a tad taller, but at best he's not like a behemoth like Juggernaut would be. Moving on to another character that had dealings with Wolverine and Sabretooth whilst in Weapon X is Maverick. I always liked his design, especially in the Wolverine and the X-Men TV show. He had quite a nice subplot in that. Quite a nice figure, very, very detailed with the line work. That he also has wires at the top. They don't rotate or move or anything, like Apocalypse's one. There is a gimmick with this. I'm going to see what it is again. I don't know if it necessarily works. Nope. Wonder if it made sounds or anything like that. The head doesn't rotate because of the way it is a gimmick again. Really like the shoulder pads. They remind me of like early 90 designs in the comics. Like the over-the-top cable designs that you'll see in a minute. Paintwork overall is very, very nice on this one. Got the pouches too. And then the top of the thighs with the kind of different semi-boot looking things, and then lines all the way through and peg holes at the bottom of the feet. Also, the gun is removable, so you can take it out. There you go, and you've got sculpted fists, so you can take it out and have him posing another way. I don't know why you would, because he's got Phasma blasts as a power or whatever. Quite a neat looking side piece, to be honest with you. Quite tight with the way he holds it too, so maybe be careful if you ever get one of these. Very loose with the arms and things, but overall the articulation is pretty neat. Arms fully rotate, they go up to a right angle or near enough. I really like this, how this hand is sculpted on this one actually. You can see like a little cuff of a sleeve. I don't know if it's on, oh, it is on both sides, only subtly on this one though. And then the legs go forward this much, not much at all really, all things considered, because of the way it's sculpted, not back at all, and then the knees bend at a right angle. A lot of these, like I said, aren't going to bend in crazy ways, but I liked the line. I really like the bullets too, and the way that the strap is painted a different colour, you know, the leather strap. Anyway, that's my Maverick figure. Also, another thing to mention with the Maverick figure, the head is very cleanly sculpted, but it makes him look sort of podgy, because he hasn't got any articulation, but the mask is very, very smooth with the line work, and the hair, he's got kind of curly permed hair, so it does look like that in figure form too. Moving on to an actual X-Force figure, Cable. This one does have another gimmick. You have his arm up like that, and you've got a little thing on the back, which makes him have a karate chop. There are loads of Cable figures out there. I just always preferred this one because he has the look that he has in the New Mutants cover where Deadpool is first introduced. I really like the shoulder pads and how clunky they are. He also has the look he had in the animated show with the yellow eye and the scarring above the other eye. The hair's nicely sculpted. He's got this cool little X tag around his neck. Overall, very clunky and big, and I love it. The arms don't bend because of the gimmick. I do like the bullets around the hands and the way that the gloves are sculpted on both sides. The silver arm, I wish he had the lines across it. That's the only thing on this, because he does always have the lines across with his cybernetic arm. With articulation, his head rotates left, right. This arm kind of goes in and out because he's on 2 pegs going in that way, so it goes out. So it goes out that much. That's it. So you can get him looking even bigger, like a rugby person. This arm can go up, like with a gimmick. That's it. And then the legs go forward this much, back not at all, and then bend at the knee very well, both of them. Really, really like this design of this figure. And then there's peg holes at the bottom of the feet. And just a quick look at the back of the figure, this is what he looks like. Out of all of these figures, my favourite looking Wolverine head sculpt, which is what he looked like from his Weapon X days. He should have had like a helmet and things like that, and belt piece that goes around it. I think it's a variant one as well because it's blue. I think the other one is orange, but I love all of the cybernetic enhancements and all the wires on him and protruding from him. There's not much sculpt at the back. The head sculpt's very, very nice. I think the hair is dead on what he looked like in the animated show. It's not blue, but it is kind of animalistic. Head's quite nice. Like I said, I like all of the little bits and bobs and the augmentations, I would call them actually, that run all the way through him. They're not symmetrical either. I liked the little belt that's been done up and the ripped jeans. They're not overly ripped or anything like that, but they still look nice, and the little bits that are sticking out of his flesh. There are peg holes at the bottom of the feet. Also, you can see the little things that he had in the animated show and in some of the comics of these little kind of claw ports that come out of his hands and in his gloves. Really like the Wolverine having nice claws is always a given, or you should hope so, but these ones like stay looking nice. Quite nice plastic. They are kind of temperamental though. And then with articulation, head rotates all the way around, arms fully rotate too, they bend in very nicely too, legs go forward this much, back not at all, and bend at roughly 90 degrees, and you can get him in very nice looking kind of berserker rage poses, like when he's attacking people, things like that. That's why I think I prefer this figure the most.